Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about painting trees. And there's all different types of trees, so I want to show you a few different ways to do it. I have my water, I have my paint. I got today, instead of my painting to start on, I got some practice scrap paper and I got a whole bunch of different tools, including a fan brush, a skinny brush, palette knife, an old kind of crusty brush, and I'm going to practice some trees. So the first thing that's really important for you to know about trees is the trunk isn't just brown. A lot of people use the kind of traditional brown color. They put it on their canvas and they do a big, huge, thick lollipop trunk. Don't do that. Don't believe me? Look out in the courtyard at the trees. Most of the trunks are almost black with lighter areas or like a deep, deep, deep brown. And they're also much thinner than you think. So I'll try to show you up close this brush. You don't want clumps and clumps of paint on your brush like this. So if that happens, mix up your color, but then kind of twist or wipe off the excess color. I'm going to do a skinny line, so I also tend to add some water. I know it's hard to see, but I'm dipping in, getting some water, and I'm making a nice dark, deep brown. That's kind of a watery color. Make sure my brush isn't clumped up, and then I'm going to draw some trunks brought to you by the letter Y. So look how skinny. Look how skinny. If your Y wiggles, even better. So that might be some kind of maple or oak tree. And I'll do some Y branches with some V's on the end. So think about Y's and V's. Really, really skinny. Do some dark, dark, dark colors. Don't make it too thick. You can add a little bit of light onto the trunk. But go ahead and make some Y's and V's. With a skinny, skinny brush. Do your branches first. Y's and V's. Now, I'm going to do another version because I'll show you a few other trees. Maybe start somewhere else. Oh, too much paint on there. Get the clumps off. Some Y's and V's. They maybe wiggle a little bit. I'll show you maybe like an elm tree. There you go. So get some branches going. Think about those letters. When you're painting these on your painting, don't put it at the very top. Don't grow your tree from the very top of the ground. Start it inside the ground a little bit. I can show you that more later. If you want to do a pine tree, honestly, I just kind of do like a straight trunk. Nothing too fancy. And if you want to do a palm tree, some palm trees have really straight trunks. Most of them that grow in nature kind of bend a little bit. So maybe it bends a little bit. Maybe it's kind of jagged on the bottom, so you can add some little jagged marks. And that might be kind of a palm tree. All right, so here we go. Now it's time to do some leaves. So for like an oak or maple tree, I tend to just use a really stiff round brush. You know me, sometimes I get a few different colors on my brush. Instead of getting green, I'll do some blue and yellow on there, maybe even a touch of black. So I have all those colors on my brush together. Look at the branches where the branches kind of end and just jump up and down and take breaks and look at it. You don't want to fill it up the whole thing so it's a giant circle. You really just kind of want to jump up and down, leave little peaks showing through. Take little breaks. You can always add more, but it's hard to take away. And you're going to add some clumps of leaves. Then you can also get a lighter color like a yellow or a white and kind of touch the tops where the sun might be shimmering off the leaves. And of course, if it's winter, maybe you don't have any leaves. If it's fall, maybe you have more orangish colors if you're living here in New York. So think a little bit about that. So that's kind of more of a like an oak or maple tree from far away. If you want to do a different kind of tree, like maybe more of a hemlock tree, you can get the fan brush. And with the fan brush, when I put my colors on it, I kind of pet them out. Pet, pet, and mix. See how I'm flipping it over and almost wiping off the excess. Darken it a little bit. Wipe off the excess. And then I just kind of press. And if you just press down, it makes kind of these C-curve, rainbow curve shapes. And again, get some lighter colors, give it some highlights. Don't just do one green, do a light, medium, and dark green. Don't just do one orange, do a light, medium, and dark orange. And that's another kind. Now these kind of bend down. Some people don't like that, so you can always turn your paper the other way. I do that sometimes with my pine tree. So I'll show you my pine tree next. This is going to be my top where it's really skinny and the bottom's going to be wider. I might actually turn my whole artwork upside down. Get some of my colors on there. And I use the fan brush again for the pine tree. And at the top, even though it's upside down, I just go back and forth a little bit. So I just kind of turn my brush. See how it's really wide, now it's really skinny. Turn my brush, just kind of dab a little bit. And at the top, it's just a few dabs. As I go down, it gets a little wider, a little wider. And then once you get it wide enough, you can turn your brush and use the whole brush. And as you go down even farther, you can widen it. So not just press in one spot and go down, but actually go out a little bit to the left and right. Add some shadows in there. So I'm just pressing, press down, release, press, release, press, release. And I'm making my pine tree wider at the bottom. And then just like we did before, you go back and on the tops, you add some highlights where the sun might be hitting. Maybe you add some snow. Have fun with that part. You don't just want one green, do a light, medium, and dark green. Now the last one I want to show you, flip it over so you can see it, is my tropical palm tree. Maybe I'll do it over here for you. So the palm tree has this trunk that goes from skinny-ish but jagged on the bottom, a little thicker, to thinner on top. And then where the palm tree is on top, think about a firework. The top of the palm tree is like a little dot. And out from that, you have these kind of curving rainbow lines that come out, almost like a spider or something. So that's what I do for my palm tree. If you want, you can paint those. Sometimes I even just paint them green, kind of my coming out from the center, firework explosion. Don't be afraid of the edge. Go right off the edge if you need to. So I started with my skinny brush for the trunk and for the insides of the palms. And then I'm going to switch brushes again. So I'm using a variety of brushes. And I am going to use my fan brush again. And this time I just put my fan brush inside the palms. And I just pull down. Pull, pull, pull. And again, use all different greens. Push it in there. Pull down, pull down, pull down. Push it. Pull down, pull down, pull down. And that's my palm tree. I'm adding more water to my paint to kind of liquefy it. Pull down, pull down, pull down. And you can always go back and touch it up. If you find you're having a hard time with the trunks and your trunks are way too thick, you could always try using the edge of a palette knife. Sometimes I use this for water or thin lines. So I just put my palette in a color, wipe off the excess. I'm sorry, my palette knife in a color, wipe off the excess. And this can give you really nice skinny lines by kind of like slicing and drawing with the palette knife sideways. So if you're having trouble with the trunks, they're way too thick, the brush just isn't your thing, try using a palette knife. I also do that sometimes for the water, little reflections. I just go horizontal if I'm doing water lines. So the palette knife is a great tool for making skinny, natural lines. That's where I'm going to stop for today. Please practice your tree on separate paper first, and then when you're ready to grow your trees in your landscape, you can start.